Hello and good evening to all. Welcome to Daily Dose session of 14th September. And here today I have combined 13th and 14th news because there was not much in yesterday's newspaper. So I am thinking of combining 2 days newspaper, 2 days news snippet so that you can get at least a connectivity if 2 days like regularly some kind of news comes. And also it will provide you much diversified knowledge of any topic. So if on any day I'm not getting much news which can be connected, because editorials and op-eds you are getting in other sources, but these news snippets are something which should be related to your syllabus, which has to directly hit your syllabus. That's why I'm combining all the important news only, and if it's not coming on one day, then I'll be combining it for 2 days lectures. So today I'll be taking up 13th and 14th, and please do subscribe to Daily Streak Initiative. The link has been given in the description. You will be getting all the free UPSC materials over there. So starting with today's news, the first in news is Iran to allow nuclear surveillance. So after talks of Tehran agrees to let IAEA, that is International Alliance for Energy Agency, install new memory cards and cameras. So basically, after this joint committee or joint plan of action have come to halt after Donald Trump, now Joe Biden has asked to revive the grouping of JCPOA, that is P5+1 grouping, along with Iran to not let Iran make its uranium saturation more, and to not go into the more nuclear weapon technologies. So for that, this becomes important from your mains perspective also, because now you have to see that what kind of nuclear deterrence is provided with the countries which are involved in various nuclear deterrence these conventions, right? So whether they are effective or not, whether it was good not to join the nuclear security doctrine and all those things. So those things become important from mains perspective. So basically from here you have to go into the details of what kind of nuclear deterrence we have, especially India के perspective में what kind of nuclear deterrence do we have, और जितने भी conventions हैं nuclear weapon technologies से related, all the various committees, all the conventions which has been signed between different countries, how effective they are, what are the lacunas, what are the limitations, वो सारी चीजें यहाँ पे it becomes important. Also, the decision which will be taken now and after the aggravating up the uranium saturation in their own technologies, in their own country, Iran, what impacts or what implications it can have on India, or what should be the stance for India, those things you have to see. So isme important is this part only, that now that the surveillance, that is it has given its nod for the surveillance to IAEA, what sort of future implications does it hold for India and for the whole world? So all those things you have to get the connectivity. Next is India-US tied up for green energy. So the next COP26, which is going to held in Glasgow, before that India has made certain commitments, and it's working very hard on its fulfillment of the commitments, especially after the Paris climate meet deal. So US climate envoy in Delhi will help with funds and technology. So we are brushing up our new technologies, brushing up our renewable energy technologies. We require the financial help and the technological funding, which will be given by US under its program, which is known as Climate Action Finance Mobilization Dialogue, that is CAFMD. So this can be asked directly in your exam about CAFMD. So it's a green up bond or green sign deal with the US, right? So there will be 3 pillars in this. Basically, one would be the climate action pillar, which would have joint proposals looking at ways in which emissions could be reduced in the next decade. Then the second pillar would be setting out a roadmap to achieving 450 gigawatt in transportation, buildings and industry by using renewable energy technologies. And third would be the finance pillar, which would innovate collaborating on attractive finance to deploy 450 gigawatt of renewable energy and demonstrate at scale clean energy technologies, right? So this is what it is all about, and also a key mission to build the global support for net zero or carbon neutrality, which is more carbon is sucked out from the atmosphere and prevented from being emitted than what a country emits, and is critical to ensuring that the planet doesn't get heats up additional half a degree by 2100. So this will be the goal. So just you have to go through the main security main dialogue which has taken place and the name of that particular process. Next in news is National Financial Regularity Authority. So the news was that the NFRA, that is National Financial Regulatory Authority, has invited for single stakeholders advisory body, and as of now a single-handed inspection will not take place. इससे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है that what National Financial Regulatory Authority is. So the National Financial Reporting Authority, not regulatory but reporting authority, or NFRA, it was constituted on 1st October 2018 by the Government of India under subsection 1 of 132 of the Companies Act 2013. So it's a statutory body which was created in 2018 under Companies Act 2013. So the main functions and duties will be to recommend accounting and auditing policies adopted by the companies for approval by the central government. Then next is monitor and enforce compliance with accounting standards and auditing standards. Oversee the quality of service of the professions which are associated with ensuring compliance with such standards and perform such other functions and duties as may be necessary or incidental. So this becomes important from prelims perspective again. Then the next news is, can thawing permafrost cause another pandemic? So this was a news which is related to the global warming situation and the melting of the glaciers as well as the thawing of the permafrost region in some of the prominent ice related altitudes. So it's talking about that. So the latest IPCC report has warned that increasing global warming will result in reductions in Arctic permafrost, and thawing of the ground is expected to release greenhouse gases such as methane and carbon dioxide. What impact will it create? So it will affect countries where roads or buildings were constructed on permafrost. So it's like, if it's going to melt, if it's going to thaw, then obviously it's going to damage the infrastructure which are built over the permafrost from a very long period of time. Then the biggest international problem is to do with the potential for organic material which is now entombed and frozen in the ground. If the ground begins to thaw, this material will become available to microbiota to break down. Then in some environments the biota will release carbon dioxide, and in some other it will release methane, which is 25 to 30 times more potent as a greenhouse gas as that of carbon dioxide. So it's going to bring up more carbon dioxide in the air, more number of global warming in the atmosphere. The total quantity of carbon that is now buried in the permafrost is estimated at about 1500 billion tons, and the top 3 meters of the ground has around 1000 billion tons of carbon dioxide. Forest fires will be the third impact, that is the forest grow back after the forest fires. They grow back in 50 to 60 years. This restores the carbon stock in the ecosystem, but in tundra the peat is where the organic material is, and this takes away a very long time to accumulate. So if we burn peat and release it into the atmosphere, then it will take centuries to restore that carbon stock on the ground level. This will be the main impact. Also we have seen in the same news, the writer has said that it may bring or it may cause lot of pandemic-like situations also after the coming up of the bacteria. As we see that as the global warming is taking place, lot of new diseases are coming into, they are becoming known to us, right? And if you talk about the colder regions as well as India, if we compare, then we have more number of disease, more number of new instances of disease which are coming up, and that shows that there is some linkage with the melting of the glaciers, with the increasing of the temperature on the surroundings and the impact of bacteria. Though we can't say that it will be lethal only, but yes, there is an impact and there will be a cause of concern on that. Next is SC call for reforms on grounds of for divorce. So basically, lot of the institution of marriage is coming into danger in a lot of instances, and it's like already the patriarchal this bonding or the patriarchal thing which is there in the society, it's getting stronger. Also that lot of concerns which are coming from the female side were already there, but now the male concerns are also coming, that in the absence of any kind of evidence or any kind of authentic sources, the divorce process is becoming quite complex, and it's creating a lot of mental frustrations as well in suicides and all. cases of false, in terms of false cases and also. On the basis of that, the Supreme Court calls for reforms in the grounds for divorce. So basically, the clause which says that there will be no ground for the marriage to be not get emboldened again. So that on that basis, the Supreme Court has given certain order. So it said that the legislature has so far been reluctant to introduce the irretrievable breakdown of marriage as a ground for divorce because marriage is considered sacramental and is supposed to be an eternal union of two people under the Hindu law. Society as at large does not accept divorce given the heightened importance of marriage as a social institution, or at least it is far more difficult for women to retain that social acceptance after divorce. This, coupled with law's failure to guarantee financial security to women in the event of a breakdown of marriage, is stated to be the reason for legislature not to come up with the introduction of irretrievable breakdown as a ground for divorce, right? The court has noted that repeated allegations and litigations against spouse amount to cruelty, which is a ground for divorce. So one instance they have taken that the case was that wife left on the wedding day itself. The court said that she had gone on to initiate complaints, allegations against her estranged spouse. This conduct shows disintegration of marital unity and thus disintegration of the marriage. In fact, there was no initial integration itself which would allow disintegration afterwards. So that's why there were certain reforms needed and the legislature has to come up with that. The last news is PM to lay the foundation stone of Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh University in Aligarh, and he is also to visit the exhibition models of Aligarh node of Uttar Pradesh Defence Industrial Corridor in Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh University. So important over here is Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh University in Aligarh and this about this personality, Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh. Also, a defense corridor in Aligarh node, and the other nodes, there are 6 nodes in total about this defense industrial corridor. They are Aligarh, Agra, Kanpur, Chitrakoot, Jhansi and Lucknow. They have been planned in the defense industrial corridor. So this whole initiative, it will help in coming up with the new industrial corridor, with the new defense industrial corridor, and it will help boost up the Make in India initiative in the defense sector. So this was all about today and yesterday's newspaper. We'll meet tomorrow on the same time or day after tomorrow maybe if not much news will be there. So we'll compile up 2 days news together and we'll come up with those things. So till then, thank you class. Good night.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civil's Daily.